Thank you for the kind introduction. Do I stay here? Okay, right. I need to bring this because when I want to provide self-care for myself, I also want to talk to you about mental health tonight. So before I start, can I have a cake? This one? Okay. Uh, my research mainly works on adolescents, but I see quite a number of geriatrics populations tonight. Let me just have a look. How many of you under 30 years of age? Oh, sorry, I should say 40s, right? Because it's Sarawak. All under 40s are youth, including me. I'm 40 last week. Not many? Oh, too little that you are shy to show your hand. How many of you more than 40 years old? Wow. The crowd wins. Right? Yeah. I see most of you are having a very kind smile on your face, but I don't know whether at the back of the smile, is there anything hidden there? Oh, when you laugh means there is something. Maybe after this talk, we can have a lot more to share in person, right? You can talk to me and you ask me about what are the things that you want if you feel very embarrassed to talk about in front of everyone, right? I also understand we have a Slido, but I'm a bit concerned. This crowd, do you know how to use Slido? Oh, wow, impressive. Okay, so it's me, right? Yeah. So when Johnny asked me to talk about depressions, I think this is something very common in not only in Malaysia, in Sarawak, but actually is very big public health issues over the globe, right? Do you know how many people actually suffering in silence
你不要看
having
你看
depression?
你不要
Or
看
how
自
many
己
of you had
听得明白
depression
他讲什
before?
么咩？
Will you dare to raise your hand?
你听得明白吗？
Oh, thank you for your breath. Yeah, many of you did not show your hand. You probably had suffered in silence like this smiling depression. Now I can tell you, 1 in 4 person actually had depression once in their lifetime. That means how many of you here? About 60s. So at least 15 of you actually had at least one episode of depression in your life. Will you agree with me? Yes, huh? Right. Yeah. But I think many actually underreported because you don't dare to show your hands. So, but that's okay. But, okay. So these are my sharing points for tonight. I want to share with you about how common is depression generally. It's not about smiling depression only, but the depression itself is very, very common. That in Western countries they don't feel shy or embarrassed to tell everybody, but it's still a problem in Eastern countries, especially in Malaysia. We are very conservative most of the time. We worry about people look at us at different spectacles, okay? Looking at you at one kind, like this person, why is he always have this kind of pattern? Huh? Your pattern is more than badminton, huh? Right? Right? And then the symptoms, what are the symptoms? What are the causes of depression? And then we want to know about what are the potential outcomes of people who suffered from depression. And then some examples from the Bibles. Most of you are Christian, right? Anyone who is not Christian? Raise your hand. Very minimal, huh? Yeah. Also, you suffering alone now. Don't dare to share about your Christianity, huh? Right? If you are not Christian, I hope I also can share with you about Christianity's perspectives, because even Bibles never hide people who suffer from emotional struggles. It's all inside the Bible. And if you read through the Bible, you will know how they actually successfully walk through the journey, right? And we also talk about what are the available treatments. Those who already admitted you have depression before, you probably have more to share. Actually, one of the very important thing in helping people who have depression is that we share more life experience. So once you actually had successfully get out of depression, you should share a lot more with other people around you because you actually will help them to get through that. So you see, you can be a vessel for our Lord, right? Then we can talk about how church community support the people who are in depressed, right? And then we support them as a community, not only support them alone, but most of the time we can try our best to help them in many other ways, right? And church, I feel these few years starting to do a lot more, especially webinar or workshop like this. A lot of times we will tell other people, church is actually concerning about people who suffer alone or suffer in hidden, right? So we will help them a lot more when church can talk about this in an open manner. So before I start, Jenny actually asked me, what topic you want to share? And I say, depression is a good topic to start. Why? Because it's very, very common. It's actually second most leading medical morbidity, and it actually causes a lot of disability around the world. Then she asked me, is that a good way to express depression openly? Do you think so? When we say depressed, would that make you depressed? Sorry, I have to disclose this. not, not to put you in the spotlight, right? When I say depressed, would I make you feel more depressed? Oh, that's good. So we can openly talk about it, right? When we talk about depression, we can openly talk about it, and more people will feel like, I'm not suffering alone. There are many other people, they are okay for me to be depressed because they are out there to support me, right? Come. So what do you see in behind these faces? Can you see all the faces? Or too blurred? Do you wear your spectacles? Yeah, I wear my spectacles because I worry I can't see. Which one you think is the true smile? The child, right? Or others? The stars? The doctors? The stewardess? Who else? Are they smiling genuinely? Professionally? Right? Yeah, you don't trust them as smiling to you in a very sincere way, is it? Yeah. But because of the profession, they have to smile to you in that way, right? Yeah. No matter how hard it is at the back of their mind, in their life, when they come to the workplace, they have to do this. This is what we call smiling depression. Even if they're actually suffering from depression, but when it comes to their work, they have to be professional, right? So many of us cannot detect them in a timely manner
Recording in
because of that.
progress.
So what is exactly smiling depression? It's actually not a formal clinical diagnosis because if you look at our DSM-5, which is a manual that we use to diagnose a person who have major depressive disorder, you can't find smiling depression, right? I will talk about depression later, but let me talk about smiling depression now. It's actually a atypical form of depressions where people that can show a very good outfront, they show themselves very successful, very happy, very cheerful, and they actually internally feel very painful, depressed. A lot of time they may actually suffer from depressed symptoms, which other people cannot see. You probably see the panda eyes. Do I have one? I came back very late last night from JB after another talk, right? But I still did sleep well. Don't worry about that. Yeah, and my smile is true smile. Yeah, self-disclosure. I worry that many people come and ask me, "How are you feeling today?" Right? But a lot of time they're suffering alone. They have a lot of sadness, hopelessness at the back of their mind, where we don't detect that, right? But you may see some subtle changes in their life if you're observant enough, right? Okay. It's not moving. Right. So what I want to share with you is that what you see outside may not be equal to inside. Do you agree with that? Yes or? Right. So I agree with all what you agreed. Right. So what are the features of smiling depression? What do you think? You can just shout out. Shout out, not shout up. Anyone? No, no one want to share. Okay. Okay. It's not moving. Okay. Right. They're always very hidden and then they suffer alone at the back or maybe at one corner. I still remember when I started my housemanship in Hospital Sibu. I wasn't feeling depressed, but I feel very overwhelmed, very tired. And then on the second day of my posting in general surgery, right, everyone went for the lunch and I was still working very hard, taking blood. You know, I'm a newbie. I take time to learn, right? And after everyone come back from lunch, it's my time for my lunch. And my mom was generally very kind. She gave me a packed food, right? So I brought that out. And that time I don't know I can use oven. So when I start to take the cold rice, I start to cry. I was like, why do I become a doctor when everybody can enjoy their life, even the patients they can have their lunch at 11:30. At 2:30, I haven't had my lunch. Yeah, but I have to cry silently because I cannot let other people see. This young fellow is crying. Right. That was the last time I cried as a doctor. Only one time. Yeah. I think God hears my prayer that the next day I managed to take before 1 p.m. And the next thing come. I went to the short lot. I don't know how many of you from Cebu. The short lot in front of Cebu Hospital. They sell kampua. And when we went there about 1 p.m., they're about to go back already. Then I was like, why am I becoming a doctor when they actually can go back home so early? I'm still working so hard, right? So again, it's very hidden. I can't share with any other bodies, right? Because when you say what they will say, if I tell you why am I becoming a doctor, they say it's your choice. Correct or not? A lot of time we will say it's your choice. So it's your choice. Then you cannot blame other people, right? You cannot complain at all. And this actually embed in many of the professionals because it's your choice that a lot of people they choose not to tell, and that become very dangerous. You see a lot more doctors nowadays, right? They commit suicide, yeah, because it's your choice. But a lot of times it's not their choice. Yeah, they did not choose to be bullied at workplace. They did not choose to actually take the cold rice at 3 p.m. Right? Yeah. So a lot of times they have higher risk for suicide. What else? We always think that it's important for us to show a good forefront to other people. What do you show in your Facebook? You remember what do you post in your Facebook? You went for traveling again, right? You have some high tea with your good sister brothers, right? Do you show anything like you cut yourself on Facebook? Cannot because somebody will report you and will be banned by Facebook or IGs. You use IG? Youngsters or oldsters? Yeah, I told my audience 2 days ago in JB, you know, I still use Facebook. I'm that generation, right? So it's hard for us to actually express how hard it is within us because everybody expects us to show good thing in front of everybody. So the bad things you should not show in front of everybody because most of the people don't know how to take it, right? So you are expected to show the good thing about your life, about your about your career, about your achievements, but never a single people show their failures. But I like this recently when somebody actually show all the F in SPM in little red note. I think China, they actually can accept that a little bit more nowadays. Or they choose to show everybody, yeah, I'm OF, so what is it, right? So if you are able to do that, that is good because you are able to show your vulnerability and you allow other people to support you, right? When you don't show any vulnerability, your weakness, how you expect other people to help you, right? Okay. High functioning may not be very healthy. So now come again, what is the definition of health? What do you think? Wow, why are you so silent? Just like my medical students. When I ask questions, nobody want to talk already. I think most of you are working very hard, and some of you also working till very late until maybe 5 something today, and then you come here. You are still able to work. You are still able to function. Even as a housewife, it's a very tough work. I always tell my mom, right? You are very high functioning, but it doesn't mean that you're always feeling healthy, especially health, mental health is something that we tend to neglect, right? You have physical health problems. When you feel feverish, what do you take? Panadol. When you have flu, you take Panadol also. Yeah, I can share with you. There's one time when I work, yeah, I have a lot of story to share. I worry 40 minutes may not be enough. It's okay? Is it okay? Yeah, I share with you another story. When I was posted to Konowick, people, they cannot wait. They asked me to give them a lot more paracetamol because they come from far. They always travel they probably need to take like 300-400 ringgit to just take one transport out of their kampong and come to the hospital to follow up. Right? At one time, they will ask for 3 months worth of paracetamol, Panadol. At first, I can't understand why should we give this Panadol. But when I know this story, I have no choice because everything they suffer from, they will take Panadol. Yeah, including flu. And you can see how luxurious we are, right? And that actually made many people think that we shouldn't feel depressed because there are many more other people that are under oppressed situations. Why should we feel depressed when we are so happily having all the resources? Right? And when you cannot finish your meals, what people will tell you? Have you ever thought of African? Correct or not? Yeah. Why you never finish your food? They don't bother about your stomach. Yeah. So we can be more gentle and help these people who really cannot finish the meals and remind them next time don't ask for so many food, right? Yeah. And that also another challenges that we know when people have smiling depression, they have these barriers that cannot seek help. I have seen quite a number of professionals when they are actually very well-known persons in the community, especially pastors, leaders, they cannot openly tell other people. When they say they are depressed, how will you see these people? This is a pastor. How can he or she feel depressed? Did he or she never rely on God enough? Will you say that? Have you ever said that before? No. Oh, thank God. Yeah, I hope you will never say that because all of us, including our pastors, they are all human. When we are all human, we are sinners. When we are sinners, we tend to have vulnerability, right? So we can accept that sometimes, because of different genetic makeup, different environmental factors, different psychological challenges, people tend to get sick, right? So if you actually can help them to detect early, if they have depression, they will actually can save the life even earlier, right? So how common is depression? I told you, right, 1 in 4. But in the last most updated document that I can find online from WHO, is over 280,000 people around, 280 million people around the world actually suffering from depression right now. Yeah, and these are just the people who openly admitted they have these problems. There are many people haven't come to healthcare facilities. They haven't sought help in their life, right? So estimated, make a guess, how more females or more males having depression? Female, right? You see the symbol, you know the symbol, right? Yeah, it actually affecting 5% of the adults around the world, and females tend to have more. You know why? You know why? More emotional. I never said that, huh? Hormones? Oh, I never said that also, huh? Right. I must tell you one very clear truth. Most of the males, when they really suffer from depression, they can be very impulsive. That they actually choose to end their life easier and earlier than females. Females tend to be more emotional, yes. They will share with others. They seek help easier. But guys, do you suffer it alone when you are depressed? Or you choose the permanent solution to settle a temporary problem? This is something that is very common in our clinical data. All right. Yeah, but we also see that there are increasing rates among the adolescents. As when I went to the schools and do research, I see quite a lot of adolescents nowadays. They suffered from depression very early in their life. Yeah. Do you know why? Sorry? Hormones again? Peer pressure. Yeah. What else? Social media. Yeah. It's a very big culprit. If you look at our National Health and Morbidity Survey in 2022, over the past 10 years, actually we had done 3 assessments on adolescents health survey starting from 2012. Over the 10 years, the depression rate actually increased. The suicidal ideas among adolescents also increased, doubled, right? And one of the things that I also noticed from that report is that they also feel loneliness, right? I don't know how many of you feel lonely. You know, adolescents and elderly that are on the extreme group, they share the similar problem. Correct. Yeah. When all your children they left home, then you have emptiness, right? And you are just like any adolescents. Or you behave like adolescents because you are demanded. Are you? No, this one is Johnny's topic. Right. So the fact about depression is that there are many people still not actually looking for help, right? In some countries like, I don't want to say Africa, but a lot of these South Africa's countries, not many of them, some countries not even 10% actually seek help. But Malaysia, we are still a little bit better. In WHO ratio for mental health care delivery, we are expecting 1 psychiatrist to 100,000, 1 psychiatrist to 10,000 people in this country. But as for now, we only have 1 to 100,000 person in this country. So we are very far behind than what we need. Yeah, so if you have children that they want to become mental health professionals, welcome them to join me. Yeah, I don't have to talk here many times. All right. Yeah. So more than 70%, 75% of people coming from low or middle income countries, they should receive no treatment. Sometimes they're because of not enough resources, not enough medicines, not enough mental health professionals, or they don't have enough other mental health professionals like clinical psychologists, counselors, and people like laypersons, counselors as well. Yeah, so I want to say that is actually many people they have to cope by putting on the brave face, and that also many a time cause the underreporting, right? So 1 in 4 may not be a real data. Yeah, maybe 1 in 2. So half of you actually have depressed at least one in your lifetime. Okay, right. So when we come to talk about major depressive episode, what do we think? What do we know about depressions? So I actually separated into physical symptoms and psychological symptoms. What is the thing that you can see easier? Physical symptoms, right? Yeah. When somebody, there was one person came in just now and told me, hey, you look different from your picture on the poster. You look a little bit bigger. Yeah, no offense, no offense. Yeah, it may be sometimes I feel too busy that I tend to overeat to cope with my busyness, right? So when you have some struggles in your life, one of the ways is coping. So whether you actually eat more or eat less is actually part of the depression symptoms. But I can reassure you, I'm not depressed, huh? Yeah. But a person who is depressed, they can actually suffer from having meals a lot or just don't have appetite to take more. And that actually leading to the changes in their weight, body weight, right? And then this is very common, the insomnia, right? How many of you have problem with sleep, to be honest? Yeah, yeah. Only one? I don't trust you. You know, 2 years ago, during MCO time, it's already out of MCO phase. I had done a research only in UNIMAS students, UNIMAS medical students. Actually, 60% of them are rated as poor sleeper. So it's impossible 2 of you only, right? Yeah, I'm sure more than half lah. Okay, right. So many a time, people come to my clinic, the first complaint is that, doctor, I can't sleep well. But this morning, special case, I have one patient who just delivered baby. She say, I sleep too much. You know why lah? Those ladies, you know why? Because you need to 3 hourly feeding, correct? So before you finish feeding, you already doze off. And the next time is 3 hours later, you need to wake up and feed again. And she said, I sleep too much. Yeah, I think that actually bothered a mother a lot, right? When you need to take care of newborns. Another thing is you become more easily agitated. Do you feel angry easily nowadays? Yes? Uh-huh. Wow, oh, it's very shy. Oh. Oh, sometimes you just feel like my mind is so blank, top block. I can't think of anything. I just feel like my memory is not so good as compared to before. That is normal. As at the age of 40, I also feel like my memory is not so good as before. Yeah, at least I can remember Johnny. That is a very good thing already. Yeah, and you can feel at the age of 40, right? You start to feel very fatigued easily. Easily, I cannot climb another, or I cannot hike another Matang Hill. Not so easy for me, unless you actually train a lot. Okay, you can feel loss of energy very easily when you feel depressed. That is not an age problem. When a person who are depressed, that usually have problems like energy, appetite, sleep problems, attention. Right? Apart from the physical symptoms, they have a lot more psychological symptoms, and that's when you probably don't see that a lot. You probably see somebody who always very cheerful. They just sit in the corner, like our pastor. I'm not sure she's depressed or not, huh? Yeah, I cannot read your mind, don't worry. But later on, you may actually show your concern, huh? Yeah. They usually suffer alone, right? So we must take care of their well-being, all right? For people who have suffered from major depressive disorder, they usually have persistent depressed mood, which means every day, every time, they actually feel like, I just don't have mood. I can't do anything. I feel so tired. Do you have that? I'm sure you don't have that because you come here and listen to this talk. At least you actually pull yourself out from your bed, like if you feel depressed, right? And then you come here and then you listen to this talk, right? And then these people, they actually lost their interest. They don't want to do anything in their life. They like to do gardening, they can't do it anymore. They like to focus on playing games, they can't do it anymore, right? And they may actually have excessive guilt about themselves, feel they are very shameful to tell other people they are not capable anymore, right? And then they cannot focus on what they are doing right now. So let me just see if anyone actually dozed off already. Then I can check that if you're actually still paying attention, right? Or else you actually fulfill one criteria already. Okay? And combining of all these physical and psychological symptoms, a lot of time they feel just very tortured and struggle to even do more things in their life. And they think, I'm hopeless, I'm useless, I better die off. So they start to harbor these suicidal thoughts, right? And this is something, a series of events that actually bring them to the end of the emotion. Do you know what are the causes of depression? What about those who actually show your hand just now? Do you want to share? Not a good platform to share? Oh, okay, never mind. You can share with your friends next time. Right? I hope you can be the successful and factory story to tell people around you that how you actually combat with depressions. But in general, we know that a lot of people who suffer from depressions not due to one single cause. Usually, there are combined factors. For example, the biological symptoms. What do we mean by biological symptoms when they actually have genetics components? For example, when patients come to us, we will actually ask them, do you have family history of depressions or psychological symptoms or psychological disorder, right? That doesn't mean that when your mother having or your father having a depressive disorder, that you will definitely having depression. But it actually makes you more susceptible, means you have a higher risk compared to other general populations when there is one person in your family having that. You just need another event, a trauma, or any stressful life events to cause you to actually turn the gene on. So that didn't change your DNA, it just turned on the gene. Understand? Right? So that is biological. And a lot of time, this condition cause a lot of vulnerability in our neurotransmitters. That is the brain chemicals that help us with our emotions. You know something that you cannot see in our brain? It's not only your brain, but the very tiny particles called neurotransmitters. And there are many things, many different type of neurotransmitters to make you feel you are happy, to make you feel you are actually more energetic. So all of this called serotonin, dopamine, noradrenaline. So one thing is very important for you to actually keep your mind very well is that you must eat well, right? Somehow you eat very well, huh? My senior, so I can make joke of him. Right? Yeah, so psychological factors when they actually have a lot of like, adverse life events or childhood experience. For example, last time when you, I mean, more older adults, not elderly, older adults, when you see children coming to you say, I'm depressed, what you say? Last time, my time, if I talk to my mom like that, they will slap me. Correct or not? Nowadays, you cannot do that, right? Yeah, you need to handle them with tender, loving care, or else they get more depressed. Why? The era changes, right? So the environment actually contribute to the depressive symptoms as well. And the perception, the societal pressure, and all this actually combine together and cause someone to be susceptible to depression. Right. So what are the risk factors for depression is that? Female, how many females here? More than 60%. Yeah, on a glance. A family history of mood disorders, these are something not modifiable. You can't choose your gender, or you actually choose your gender. Yeah, it's transgender, yes. You don't choose your gender, right? Okay, yeah. So this is something not modifiable. Family history, not modifiable. Family history, history of adverse childhood event, you cannot go back and change. You can't. So if you're being neglected, you're being punished when you are younger, when you're being abused, that actually causes a trauma. And that traumatic experience can actually leave a memory in your mind. And that again may actually cause a trouble in future. So that's why when they actually experience traumatic episodes, they come to us. So we try our best to help them to, to reconcile with that traumatic experience. And death of your loved ones, these are something that we cannot modify. But the good news is, there are many things that we actually can modify. Because my age problem is a little bit difficult to read everything. Let me come here. Yeah. I admit my vulnerability, okay? All right? So you can see the chronic medical illness. Many a time people come to us when we want to diagnose a depression. We do not simply diagnose depression. We will try our best to actually check the full body checkup and make sure that there's nothing that we actually miss, especially people who suffer from chronic medical illness. For example, if they have diabetes, actually half of the people who have diabetes has higher risk to get depression, especially if it is uncontrolled. People who have thyroid problems, so we try to screen all the medical problems. This is something modifiable, right? So if we don't screen that, we may actually miss important things. And these are the things like thyroid problems, diabetes problems. This all I will send to Sao. After that, they will come to us if after treated, still not very good, still having depressive symptoms, and then we will co-manage together, right? So that is very important. So that's why if somebody come to you when they actually complain of depression, make sure that they do a full body checkup, okay? Because we want to make sure that we don't miss anything very important, something that we can treat even before we diagnose them as depression. But it doesn't mean that we cannot treat them with depression, right? They really have the depressive episodes, so we will treat them. At the same time, we check their blood. Or other things like if you have psychiatric comorbidities, apart from depressions, you probably know many others. From the time you were born, you are susceptible to mental health problems. Even before you are born, in the tummy of your mommy already have risk of peripartum depression, right? And then when delivered, a child can actually have neurodevelopmental disorders. And when they grow up, all these type of different psychiatric comorbidities like anxiety, like OCDs, all these are familiar? Yes? Yeah. So all these actually can come together. That means if you have depression, you can have anxiety also. It's just like you have hypertension, you also can have diabetes, right? And a lot of time, people choose to take alcohol or choose to take substance to cope with these negative emotions. Or people who actually drinking alcohol for long term, they actually can suffer from depression very easily because alcohol is a type of depressant, right? So if you are drinking alcohol too much, you know what you can do, huh? Oh, the other things, your favorite hormonal changes, uh, especially for ladies, you will see a lot of hormonal changes in your life when you get pregnant, when you have your monthly business, when you don't have monthly business, all hormonal changes appears during that time. And that's why you say females are more emotional. That is true. Yeah, due to hormonal changes, they tend to have a lot of these different periods of emotional struggles. So we need to treat our ladies a little bit better, right? That's why ladies first, huh? Yeah. Insomnia, if you have a night shift work, yeah. I still remember when I was houseman, all things come from my houseman time, right? I was do, I can't remember if I work with them and then I need to do CPR the whole night. I remember one of their colleagues, they were both my MOs that time when I was husband. I need to do CPR on 2 beds at one time. I feel so depressed. I was like, how am I going to tear myself into 2 parts so that I can do CPR on 2 people, right? So at the end, both people die. Too bad, huh? Yeah, it's not my problem. I try my best. I swear, I try my best. Yeah, but you know those night shift, you are alone and nobody can help you a little bit more, and then it's the time for you to sleep, but you can't sleep well. You cannot even sleep because you need to work, right? And these people they have problems with the mood. It's very common. Yeah. So please treat our gut well because they help us to safeguard our properties at night. They don't sleep, right? And if you have any reason, stressful life events, uh, job problems, bereavement means if you lose someone very important in your life, okay, or dog. I have one patient today also. She lose her dog when she actually went for vacation. She didn't see this 11-year dog with her one last time, and she feel very troubled inside. Yeah. That is bereavement. So if you have that more than 6 months, that means you have prolonged grief disorder, and then you need to see me already. Yeah. If you have bullying, gender dysphoria, the transgender, yeah, they, they don't know whether they are male or female. They want to change, cannot change, no money. Cheaper in Thailand, maybe. Yeah, but throughout this process, they have a lot of very difficult periods, whether I want to change or I don't want to change. Do I need to tell everybody? I still remember years back when I was in Melbourne. I traveled back from Melbourne to Kuala Lumpur. And there's one guy who is actually from Penang. He was studying there in Melbourne as a, I think, dietitian, right? So, and he told me, he said, actually, I'm going. Actually, he was very kind. He very generous. He come and talk to me. He was sitting next to me, and then apparently I'm very shy that time, right? And then he came to me and then he said, "Oh, what's your name?" I said, "Oh, yeah, I'm Bernard." Then he said, "Oh, I'm John, but sooner or later my name will be changed to JC." So, like I don't know how I can respond to him. But it happened that I'm in psychiatry fraternity already. So it also aroused my interest to ask him, so how's the service in Australia? And then they actually went through 2 years of psychological services before they can confirm that they can change the gender reassignment, right? So they need to see psychiatrists for at least 1 year or clinical psychologists to make sure that they actually come through all this distress in themselves, accepted their identity, and then they're actually well prepared to announce to their family before they can do that. You see, that is never happening in Malaysia. Yeah. Even the Kelantan problems create a big havoc, right? Yeah. Sedentary lifestyle. Are you having a sedentary lifestyle? Yes. Smile. Do you exercise? Yes. Very little voice. Do you eat healthily? Yes. Do you sleep enough? No. Okay, so all this actually can contribute to your problem in mental well-being, right? Okay. Oh, what did I press? How will you respond? What would be your response when people ask, how are you? How are you? Sure or not? Sure, yeah. When you ask people, how are you on every Sunday service, don't stop there, because they might have smiling depression. When people ask you, how are you, and you say good, you know why? Because you don't want to explain the thing behind your mind, correct? Even though you have a lot of worries, you're suffering alone, you don't want to explain, so you will just say good. And then you went to the corner. They will ban me next time. Yeah. So we try to observe every single possible subtle signs in everyone who have smiling depressions, because it can actually bring a very brutal outcomes if we don't detect that early, right? A lot of times they cannot function very well. Solely if they don't address that, they may be not able to work, and that depression is also a risk for chronic medical illness as well. They cannot control their diabetes very well, their hypertension very well. It actually leads them to stroke, to many other medical problems, right? And then they also have increase of substance abuse, and then self-harm or suicidal thoughts, and that actually have some impact on their relationships, and also the work, and they cannot function, they cannot have a normal interpersonal relationship. Okay, so why smiling depressions? This world tells us you need to be always good, especially when you come to church, right? You must be happy when you come to church, correct or not? If you're not happy, can you come to church? Can or not? Can, 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 Yeah, so make sure if you're not happy, you must come to church. Let other people detect you, all right? Because we always need to put a good forefront to tell other people, I'm good, I'm fine. Actually, you are not fine, right? Because when you are not fine, you will choose, I don't want to go to church today. Because you worry other people will ask you, are you okay or not? And then you force yourself to say, I am okay, when you are not okay. And you are telling lies in front of God. Correct? Yeah. If you are not okay, can you say, I'm not okay? Are you okay to do that? Next time, let other people show their care and love. Yeah. But not too many patterns. Yeah. Just be genuine. That's what I want to share. Okay? We don't need to tell other people we are okay when we are not okay. Yeah. As I reassure you, I'm okay today. Today, right now. Don't worry about that. Right? Social media perfections. I mentioned that earlier. We show all the good things in front of other people's in our IGs, Facebook. But I'm not asking you to cut yourself and put on the Facebook. Yeah, that will actually create a lot of struggles in other people who see it. And you will be banned from Facebook. Next time you cannot express yourself freely. But you can actually say, you are not so okay today. It's a mixture of okay and not okay. That is good. You can honestly share with other people your genuine emotion, right? And sometimes people also fear of what? Burdening others when they say, I'm not okay. Do you feel burdened if I tell you I'm not okay now? and I leave now? Pastor, you can continue my slides. Why? It's not okay. Do you feel burdened? Yes? No? Oh, too bad. So I hope we can actually equip you in future. We have more workshops that you will learn how to not feel burdened when people say they are not okay. Because all you need to do is just to listen to what they need. You don't need to do anything. Because when they are feeling lonely,